One person is watching. Hello. 2 people are watching. Mike Lombardo, hello! Full iFixit kit. Computer master. I'm not like Vsauce, Mike Lombardo. Thanks for joining me, by the way. It's been a long while since I streamed, so I'm a little out of practice when it comes to this. I'm still a little uncomfortable, to be honest, but I'm glad you're here, so that's cool. Alright, so I'm going to be replacing an iPhone screen today. This is an iPhone 8 Plus. It has a broken screen, as you can tell. And the back is fine, except for a teeny tiny crack up here that you can't really see on the camera. But it's just fine otherwise, so the LCD is working, but the glass is cracked. It's a private... it's not... No, it's not for work, to answer your question. Alright, so what I like to do when I replace an iPhone screen is to always use transparent packing tape, so that you don't get any glass scattered around your room or your working desk. So I found that this is very useful. Right, so by the way, this is gonna be a fairly long live stream because I did fix an iPhone 8 for someone else before Christmas at some point, but it took me about 2 hours to replace the screen, because when you buy the screens off of eBay, you don't really get them with the front camera assembly, so you have to replace or move a lot of the parts over from the old screen and over to the new one. So that's a little bit of tedious work, but it means that the cost of the screen itself is a lot cheaper, and you get to kind of reuse as many parts, as many original parts as possible from the phone. Also, this is kind of a test stream, obviously, because I have never tried this before to fix stuff live. So we'll just have to see how it goes. Also, apologies for the lighting here. I know it's not perfect, but it's everything I have. It's all I have available at the moment. You're replacing the whole button. Touch ID gets disabled if you do, right? Yeah, that's correct. I don't replace the button because, I mean, the button itself is just fine. So you can reuse this one. You just have to be careful when you pull it off from the original screen, so that you don't that you don't tear the cable, basically. And yeah, it's also true that Touch ID does actually get deactivated if you buy like third-party home buttons. Even if they have the Touch ID sensor in it, it's not going to work because of security chip inside of iPhones. Okay, so it's pretty much covered up. So let's find the pentalobe. So penta means 5, correct? Alright, so which one is it? Oh, here we go. Okay. It's one of these. Apparently there are 3 different sizes of those. So if you use the wrong one and you break the screw, you're you're effed. You're not going to be able to get it out, to open it up at all. So yeah, there you go. That's perfect. Tell me if the background music is fine, Mike. I don't know if it's it should be pretty okay, I think. Sometimes there seems to be a bit of like debris inside of the screws, making them a little tougher to open. Good levels, sounds perfect. Thank you very much. Alright, so here's the thing. Normally on an iPhone screen, you like to use suction cups to open it up. But in this case, I mean, the screen is cracked, so it's not certain that you're gonna get a good, what do you call it? Good grip, sort of, when only using suction cups. So I usually do that as well as using the very magic tool, which is this one. It's absolutely, I would say, probably the most important tool that you got when you have to open up an iPhone. So from my experience with previous iPhone models, like iPhone 5 and such, I would just pry between the frame and the plastic bezel, and you would actually like get a good enough grip so that you could just pry it open like that. So I often like to do it like this, but there is of course a small risk of breaking some cables inside. So if I use both the suction cup and the tool I don't know the name of right now, it should be a good combo. So as you can tell, it doesn't really get stuck quite properly. But it's all good. We're gonna get through this. And also, this is an iPhone 8 Plus. I haven't really opened up iPhone 8 Plus yet. I've only done iPhone. I've only actually done iPhone 8 like 2 times. I fixed some iPhone 6s, and I've also fixed a lot of iPhone 5s. That's when I did this for a living at a different company. All right, let's see here. So if I didn't put the tape onto the screen, we would have a lot of broken glass just scattered all around here now. So we don't want that. And here we go. It's not entirely loosened up anyway, but I'm getting close. So the iPhone 8, from iPhone 7, well, really from iPhone 6s and up, you have some adhesive throughout the frame here. So it's going to be a little sticky. You would want to remove this and ideally replace it, especially for the iPhone 5, the iPhone 7, iPhone 8, and more recent models, which also are waterproof. But of course, when you replace the screen like this, you should never promise anyone that it's watertight. Even if you replace the glue, there's still no guarantee, and you really don't have any way that I know of that you can test it without actually dunking it in a bucket. And I'd rather not test that with someone else's phone. If it was my own, maybe I would take the chance, but not gonna do that if it's not mine. Yeah, this is a little tedious work right here. So if I remember correctly, yeah, it opens from left to right on the iPhone 8 models. It has apparently changed with the more recent models that you go from right to left for some reason. But here we go. So if you're a perfectionist, you would maybe want to have something like holding the screen so that it doesn't what can I say, so it doesn't pull on the cables here. So you can actually just use the suction cup, which has a handle on it, and just do like this. You want to have it standing on its own while you pull away the glue, for example. So you don't have to do it in that particular order if you don't want to, but that's how I do it. And I was also hoping to get this done in less than 2 hours, because 2 hours, that's the time I spent last time when I fixed an iPhone 8. And I was hoping I would be able to do it a little faster this time. Because 2 hours, quite frankly, is a little too much if you ask me, for replacing a screen. I guess some people would recommend actually using a heat gun when you try to loosen the adhesive around the frame of the phone. But in my experience, that's not really necessary. But it might be different on the iPhone X or XS. Sorry, XS. You Americans. Using Roman numbers. So iPhone 10, iPhone XS, and iPhone 11 Pro, they probably use a tougher adhesive, I guess. So if you're just, yeah, if you're watching this, one of you three people, this is Norwegian Slow TV, everybody. I'm actually just going to go ahead and detach the connectors to the screen, so I don't have to stress it needlessly. So that is regular Philips, from what I can tell. Not the tri-point ones. Alright, so you can't really see, I realize you can't really see so much from this camera angle, but for the moment I only have one camera, and I'm thinking of buying a GoPro so that I can have two cameras and have two separate angles and just switch between them to be like semi-professional. Would be nice. These screws right here, as you can tell, these are absolutely tiny. So, and also all of them are different sizes, so you have to put them in the correct order. So iFixit also has the magnetic project mat that I would definitely recommend, but just at the moment I don't have the space at this table to use that, so I'm going with the next best thing and well, keeping it in here. It's not magnetic, but hopefully I'm not gonna push into this and I mean, if that thing falls over, I'm screwed. Can you even see those screws on from the camera? You would never find something this small in a laptop. Can you tell? Oh yeah, you can tell. There you go. All right, so as long as it's in the correct order, it should be fine. Alright, so first thing first. I always like to remove or disconnect the battery first of all. In this scenario it's a little tough to get that one first, so let's go with screen connector. So that's the, what do you call it? The LCD connector and also the digitizer. And that's the battery. Okay, so we still got a couple more connectors underneath the... oh, you can't really tell from this zoom level, but we got some tri-point screws right here, right up here, which are also teeny tiny screws. Yeah, these are, I think it has to be the smallest one of the tri-point screws in the iFixit kit that you have to go with. That's what it seems like. You know, Mike, if you're watching, iFixit.com is actually pretty much how I got started with. I mean, I can thank iFixit.com for getting started with fixing phones, or actually learning how to do that. Because in 2014 I had a job. I got a job offer, or rather, I applied for it, and I got an interview. And kind of like IKEA, if you're on an IKEA interview, they ask you to. Well, during the interview, you're probably at some point going to try to build something or assemble something. So in this scenario, we also, at the interview, we had to replace the screens on two iPhone 4s. That was a part of the interview. That was pretty interesting, and you know, just to be a little prepared in advance, I went through iFixit.com and watched some tutorials on how to disassemble the iPhone 4, iPhone 4S, which is almost the same, and the iPhone 5 and 5S. So by the time I got to the interview, I had already kind of, you know, watched through both the videos and the guides. So I was ready, and it actually worked out very well. Let's see. There's one more screw here. So I don't know what you call these tiny things. I think it's called a washer or something, something down the lines of that. Let's see, was that the left or right side, by the way? Keeping order in the part. When you disassemble parts, you definitely have to make sure you lie them down in the correct order. Because if not, you're gonna lose track of it, and you don't know where you're gonna, you know, put it back. Obviously. Okay, that connector was a little annoying. There we go. And the screen is disassembled. There you go. So this live stream for me is more like a practice to just see how, I guess, kind of see how I work under pressure. Like if you're good at something, if you got real good skills, or like if you've done a task numerous times, you're obviously more comfortable doing that. As for me, I'm a little bit out of practice. I did work a lot with phones, Samsung phones, in 2018. Alright, so just trying to remove the debris, kind of. It's not just adhesive, actually, it's more like there's actually numerous sorts of debris, or like, what do you call it, pocket debris, just stuck in between the frame and the adhesive. So I always like to remove that before I replace it with a new one. Depending on the age of the phone, it seems like the remaining adhesive that you have to remove, it's like on iPhones, it's very soft and sticky. You see like this, you can pull it like super long. It's not like that on Samsung phones. I think they do use a different adhesive than Apple. Because it's more of a, just double-sided tape, is that what you call it? It's more like that, and it's more kind of, it doesn't tear apart like the iPhone adhesive does. I don't really know if that's better or if it's worse, but judging from, I mean, how many liquid damaged iPhones you have, or like, I've noticed at least that from my experience, it seems like iPhone 10, like even iPhone 10, which is, it's the 3rd generation Apple phone with an IP67 rating, and it's still just gets water damaged, and Apple doesn't take responsibility seemingly for those cases. So anyway, in a moment I'll be testing out the new screen that I have just to make sure it actually works. Alright, fairly happy with this. Guess I'll vacuum the floor later. Alright, so I got the new screen, same color, and also it should be an original LCD, like so. Okay, so as a best practice, you want to test out the new screen before you assemble it. I guess you could say you want to do a minimum amount of work to test out that the new screen is actually functional. Because if it isn't, you've done all this work for nothing, and unless you have a replacement screen, you're gonna have a bad time. All right. So for the record, I have already tested that the original screen is the LCD on that is still functional. So it does mean in theory that it should be possible to refurbish this old screen. If you take apart the glass from the LCD, you could actually make it into a new screen with an original Apple LCD. So that's what has been done here, but obviously not by me. This is from Germany. So the LCD should be no different from the original Apple ones, because it is literally from an iPhone 8 Plus already. Sometimes they take them from different colors, and you know, you got the black and white, so they will just take from, when they replace the screen on the LCD, they're just gonna take whichever is the most demand on. So we're gonna check out the new screen first of all, and it seems to be lighting up. So I'm just gonna hide it real quick, because I don't want to dox anyone, like the customer. So I'm just gonna test out basic touch functionality to make sure that is functional. Okay, so the new LCD is fully functional from what I can tell. So now that we have established that, we can move on to moving all the parts from the old screen over to the new one. And now begins the tedious job, because this is probably the most time-consuming one, or well, part of the job when it comes to iPhone. Like when you buy a screen, it doesn't usually come with. Well, of course, you definitely have to. There are some things you have to do. There are some things that are optional. So when it comes to these screens here, obviously you have to move over the home key for Touch ID to be functional. So when you buy a screen, it's still going to be without a home key. You have to move that over to the new one. There are a couple of other differences though. So on the back here, you can tell there is the front camera, there is a microphone, and there is the ear speaker. So all of these parts are glued together and with various screws. They have to be moved. Oh yeah, and also the light sensor, hall sensor, whatever it's called. They also have to be moved over to the new screen. It's a little tedious, but if you have a little bit of patience, it should go just fine. You should not be stressing when doing this. It makes it a lot easier. And while we're at it, we could also check out the liquid damage indicators inside the iPhone. So at least this iPhone has two separate liquid contact or liquid damage indicators. One being in the top right here. So if you can tell, that is completely white. If there is liquid, if there has been liquid on it, it's going to be red, because there is red behind the white sticker, the 3M tape. And there is also one inside the SIM card tray, which is visible from the outside, but it's very tough. You have to be at a very precise, specific angle to be able to see that. But from what I can tell here, it's not been liquid damaged in any form. And also there is no corrosion that I could tell. So this phone should be 100% healthy once we have replaced the screen. Right. So what we're going to do now is to start moving over a bunch of components from the old screen, so we can get it working. But if you ever want to replace a screen yourself, I would actually, I would probably recommend spending the extra $20 or whatever it is to just get the front camera and the ear speaker and all of that stuff pre-assembled. It does make it a lot easier. Want to remove this sticker here. It's leaving a mark. It's leaving a mark. Oh no. Void warranty. Oh, clever bastards. I guess it's like this. Like, if you want to use the warranty on the phone, you have to return it with the sticker intact, meaning that you should not have assembled it inside the phone, because in order to assemble it, you obviously have to remove this sticker. There you have it. Void warranty. I just voided warranty. Alright. So I'm gonna trying to be focusing here, because this is the tough part. As you may notice, I am also wearing a anti-static wristband connected to ground, just so I'm not gonna induce any damage on the components. I did forget about this actually for the first like the first 10 minutes or something, but it's on now, so hopefully no harm has been done. Now for me to just remember the order, correct order of the screws. I think next time I'm doing this, I'm just gonna use I'm just gonna be using the magnetic mat instead. Like, just find a place for it, because it really just makes things a lot easier when the screws don't really roll around or go anywhere. So this is not optimal, but it works. You don't have to have a ton of tools to fix a phone. You actually just need the you need the suction cup. You need this tool, which is also sometimes referred to as an iSesamo opening tool. You need the pentalobe screwdriver. You need a tri-point screwdriver and a small regular Phillips screwdriver. And that's it. And now we should be able to remove the ear speaker, but nothing else yet. There we go. That's it. It's going to be moved over to the new screen. Now we have to remove the metal plate that's screwed onto the frame. Or I guess it's some kind of shielding plate. I'm not sure exactly what the purpose is, but probably some type of shielding from the LCD, or for the LCD. If I remember correctly, that uses tri-point screws as well, so... I mean, just imagine trying to disassemble an analog watch, like a wristband watch. I think you'd probably need a microscope when working on that. They also have some tiny screws. Isn't it like some watches they need like maintenance every now and then? You have to disassemble it and clean the parts, reassemble. It's a very tedious job, so it's also, I think it's quite expensive. I'm struggling a tiny bit here with this bottom screw. This is the smallest bit I have available for tri-point. Doesn't get any smaller than that. It's no fun. Oh, wait a minute, that is a... okay. That is a regular Phillips screw all of a sudden, like in the middle of the other ones that are tri-points. Suddenly they go back to regular Phillips. So you have to be careful so you don't ruin the screws. Alright, so we still have one more screw that's kind of stuck in there. So I'm going to try to loosen that. See, the rest of this metal plate right here is coming off because it doesn't... like... I got every one except for... of course, there's one tiny screw that's kind of just ruining everything. I feel like sometimes if you push it from, if you push it from the other side, it kind of gets easier to, it kind of loosens up. So what if I do like this? Maybe it'll come off easier? Because if it doesn't, I'm just gonna have to, oh yeah! Got it. Alright, so that's the metal frame, which should now be coming off. Let's see. Oh, it's actually glued a little bit onto the screen cable. not sure if that's on the top or the bottom. Looks like it's on the upper part, so you actually have to pull that off first. Well, this is a little tricky, isn't it? Never mind. Okay, here we go. So that's a metal shield plate that has to be transferred to the other screen. Hey, Tinfoil Tom. Is Mike holding you hostage? Not exactly. Mike was pretty early on. How are you doing, Mike? Sorry, Tom. I guess I could say that I haven't been socializing so much lately, so it's kind of... and I haven't been live streaming for a very long time, so I feel like I'm very out of practice when it comes to this. So I'm super nervous and I just talk gibberish right now. But I'm happy you're here. Having some coffee. Oh yeah, so what time is it there in Town, USA, Tom? Would you tell us? Oh, by the way, I mentioned earlier, this is the second, or the one of the liquid damage indicators on iPhone. You can see this one from the SIM card tray. It's also white, so it's not been activated. It hasn't been moisture inside of the phone. Time is PST, 12:30. Pacific, what do you call that? Pacific Standard Time? But hey, thanks so much for stopping by, Tom. That's awesome. Don't make me starstruck now, dude. I'm getting nervous here. I'm thinking. I actually I guess we shouldn't be talking. We shouldn't really be talking about COVID and stuff like that. It's not like. We don't have to talk about it, but I watched the news like for the first time in a very long time, and it's like we've gotten. Apparently, we have gotten like 50 so far. I think we have 50,000 Norwegians actually vaccinated already with the Pfizer vaccine. So we are getting there. Like it started started at New Year, like early now in January. You can do it. Not a single electronic thing you can't disassemble and then reassemble. Yeah, thanks. That's true. I can still break things though. I did that also even when I did this for a living, I still broke stuff every now and then. So there's always the risk of breaking stuff. Like even if you're a professional, it still happens. And if you say you don't, then you're a liar. The world will hopefully be back to a better place by 2022. Yeah, exactly. So I'm thinking like even now in 2021, I'm guessing we're probably not gonna have too many games this year either. Like from how it looks like so far. So I guess 2022 really is gonna be a great year. Alright, so that was the light sensor. I'm trying not to break this thing. There's a lot of glue inside of this phone. And especially these parts that you have to transfer over, they are... you can usually just tug them, kind of just tug them carefully out and move them over. But ideally, you should probably have a heat gun or something. It's not mandatory to have a heat gun, but it would make the job a little easier. But I just don't have one at hand right now. I'm gonna buy one pretty soon, I think. Because I haven't really been doing this very much, fixing phones. I used to do that at the company I worked at, but not as of late, really. Yeah, things will be more back to normal by then for sure. Okay, the light source here is kind of terrible, so I'm not seeing enough. So this entire thing is just one piece. It's like tiny flex cables, and they are glued everywhere. There are tiny sensors and all of that, so if you manage to tear it only a tiny bit, it's not going to work, it's not going to function. It's just even better if you connect this to a new phone. Well, or actually you move this over to a new display, right? And then you connect it to the new phone. It's not going to boot. It's just going to be stuck on the Apple logo, and you're not going to know what's wrong. I learned that from the previous phone I fixed, because that happened, and I had to, in a hurry, I had to order a new front camera assembly. Fortunately, though, I do actually have a couple of spare ones right now. So if it breaks, it's actually not such a big deal. But I'd rather it doesn't break. Oh, did the music stop? Sorry, just a second. I didn't have a very long playlist or a lot of songs. I actually did subscribe to Monster Cat Gold to get some random music I could play, like without getting a DMCA claim. So it costs $5 a month. But if I want to, at some point in the future, monetize my my live streams or videos, or if that gets, if that opportunity presents itself, I should be able to do that using this music subscription. Crap. Right, that is not easy. This is a very pointy tweezer, so I can both fix things and I can break things with it. I can, yeah, it hurts if you get stabbed by this. I'd say there's a 50% chance that this component is now dead. It's very much possible that it's already broken, because that's how sensitive it is. Not really, I don't think it's really meant to be replaced. Okay, there we go. Finally. That's it. I've done it. Alright, so that looks not half bad. Alright. So, okay, so on the new screen, we can tell that we already have the necessary... it actually has a tiny bit of glue on the new one, so that it should be easier to apply, well, to assemble the front camera flex. It already has the necessary bits to kind of just center it, so it doesn't, so that, for example, the front camera doesn't end up being like kind of inside the frame and not looking out. This looks very good. Alright, so now for the home key. I think it's been, how long it's been now? It's, wait, how long was it since I started streaming? 1 hour and 4 minutes, okay. So I want it to be done by at least less than 2 hours, because I know that's approximately the time I spent last time I tried to fix an iPhone 8. And the reason being, pretty much this thing right here, the front camera flex, which was being a little tough. There was a lot of meticulous work going into that. Alright, so home key. We got the same thing here. The flex cable for the home key is glued onto the frame. So you either have to use a heat gun to soften the glue, or you can gently pull it off. If you do that, it's there's a chance it could tear, but in my experience it usually doesn't do that, so it's going well so far. You just have to distribute the tug evenly so that it doesn't tear. That's great, pretty good. So the flex cable is loose, so on the iPhone 8, well actually I think the iPhone 7 and more recently, you have to take out the home key through the front instead of the back, because on previous iPhones like the iPhone 5 you had to pull it out the back. I think it pretty much just has to do with watertight, keeping a watertight seal, so it doesn't get water damaged. So technically on the previous iPhones you could actually, like if you got a droplet at the button area, it would actually get water damaged. So previously I did apply a transparent packing tape on the screen so that it doesn't, so that the glass doesn't scatter everywhere. So I'm just gonna have to open up where the home key is so that I can tug it out. This is a lot easier when you're not nervous and your hand is shaking. Okay, that's pretty good. So let's see if we can just push that out there. And there you go. That's the Touch ID home key right there. So now I think we are pretty much done with the old screen here. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna pack the LCD down, and I usually keep it for I usually keep the old screen for some time, just in case any customer for some reason I don't know. No, if for some reason the new screen is to break, you still have the well actually it's not that that's necessary, but here's the case. So this is obviously a refurbished iPhone screen. Well, sorry, this one is a refurbished iPhone screen. So if you send this to Apple and you want to have a repair on something like anything other than the screen, like say you want to use the warranty for some reason, you're gonna have to you probably want to deliver the phone with the original screen. So if for some reason the customer you replace the screen for and it's a refurbished screen, you may have a slight advantage of actually putting back the original screen, and you know, Apple can tell it's original, it's same serial number, it's that's associated with the phone itself. And maybe they will offer you like, well, not warranty service, but maybe slightly cheaper service. I'm kind of just rambling here. It like in practical terms, it may not be necessary to actually keep it, but at least I keep it for like 3 months or something at minimum. Just in case in any scenario it should be necessary to mount this back on the old phone. And when it's been more than 3 months, you can actually sell the screen if you want to, like maybe get $10 for it or something, for someone to take it off your hand and replace the glass so that they have a new refurbished iPhone screen. Alright, so new screen, and moving over the parts from the old one. Okay, so we want to make sure that the all the sensors get to stay properly inside of the tiny frames on the screen. like the light sensor, for instance. If you don't do this properly, the light sensor is not going to work. I actually just realized something. I should probably put the ear speaker. I think I should put the ear speaker back on before I put the frame on, because the ear speaker, the earpiece is gonna keep the light sensor and the other one in place. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do that. Okay, so those are 3 screws, okay. Okay, so I just have to remember which one it was now, like which screws go where. Okay, I guess I can tell if I take a look at this. Like, how did that, like in which order did that come into play? Okay, okay, great. So this one actually has to go on to... Okay, this one goes on afterwards. So I can't really use the screws on the ear speaker yet. But anyway, it does actually help keep the sensor and everything in place. So that's a good thing. Now for the home key. Oh wait, before I do that, I actually don't remember if this one comes first or not. Before the... No, it doesn't actually. I think I took this off before I took off the home key. So that one goes on top. Alright, so those are tri-point. Rewind the video and check. Exactly. So that's why you record stuff. I think you can actually do that on YouTube, to be honest. No, I remember. It's okay. Okay, we're good on the home key. I can actually not really... I didn't really notice any... there was no kind of watertight seal around the home key, so I'm not sure exactly how they... Like, is it just so tight that it doesn't manage... Like, water doesn't manage to get through the home key? Because there's nothing around it. There's no seal or anything. So I don't know how they managed to keep that watertight. Okay, so here's the thing. If I remember correctly, I think the did I not take out the frame pretty late? No. Okay, so here's the thing. I remember now. I pulled out the ear speaker first, but I let the rest of it being... Oh, that means I must have actually unscrewed this thing right here. So no, this one definitely comes next, I think. Or like at the same time. Because here's the thing, I don't remember if the screws were going on top. Hold up. Let me just get this the right way. Like this. Like if this plate went underneath that or not. We'll find out very soon. There's a bit of cable management when you work with iPhones. Okay, so I definitely made a small error on this one. Okay, so the frame goes underneath, and the ear speaker goes on top of that. So I could also look up the guide on ifixit.com if I wanted to. Yeah, I guess I did do an oopsie. Okay, hold up. So the home key screws go on after the frame. It seems like. Actually, I'm still not 100% sure about that, but we're gonna find out. Hey, Eri! Welcome! Thank you so much for joining. This is a slow TV kind of stream today. I'm not doing gaming, but I'm fixing an iPhone for someone. So I thought I would just as well do it live, like, you know, like Louis Rossmann, if you've heard of them. And also, the pressure is on when I'm doing this, and I'm doing it live. You know, there may be errors, I may do something wrong. I've been telling myself to be this live and I'm missing it. No. Hey Tinra. You're not missing anything. I'm just fixing an iPhone. And it's, you know, slow TV. Just without the nice nature that you see on NRK. With the Bergensbanen. By the way, that is actually unironically something I think is sometimes fun to watch slow TV. Absolutely unironically. I've been planning to spend less than 2 hours to complete this repair. It has currently been almost 1.5 since I started off. So I gotta hurry up. Have to make some late dinner, but I'll see if you're on later. Repair streams is chill, does not have to be games. Well, thanks Tinra. I appreciate that. When I put the parts in here, I try to put them down in, you know, like ABC kind of order. So if I do that, it should be at least easier to just go when you reassemble the phone, you just go backwards. At least that's the idea. I'm just hoping I didn't break this front flex. Because if I did, I'm gonna have to spend more time disassembling it, finding the new one, and assemble that. The thing with this is that it's bent in such awkward positions. It's like when you buy a new one of these like components, like this front camera flex with sensors and everything, you have to what can I say? You have to bend it into place. It's very picky when it comes to how you put it in place so that it doesn't, like, so that everything works. Oh yeah, I've last time I streamed, I played Halo 3. That was actually really good. I had a lot of fun playing that. It turns out that I actually like FPS games. Who knew? Oh, just post a link in your Discord. Hey, thanks, Ari. Thank you so much. I don't know about the notifications, if that's working or not, because when I pressed the go live button on YouTube, it just kind of it kind of just started the last stream. It said like still it said Halo 3 when I started a new stream for some reason, so I had to change it. And I'm not sure if it actually sends a notification when you start a live stream immediately or not. Not entirely sure about that. Okay, hold up. So the tech tip. Here's a tech tip. Okay, so when you have to assemble the ear speaker, you have to wiggle it so that it actually comes into place properly. I think I got it correctly. Yeah, okay, so no unnecessary screws in the wrong place. Let's see if I get the correct order here for the rest of the screws. Oh, you didn't get a notification. Okay, that's interesting. I realized something wasn't quite right when I started the stream. So that sucks. Oh wait, that is not the correct screw. Okay, hold on. It's fortunately not like there is zero room for error. It's like, let's say a television, okay? If you buy a TV and you have, you know, it comes with, it's not assembled on a stand or a foot when you pack it up, so you have to assemble the what do you call it? Yeah, you have to assemble the foot for TV, and maybe it comes with two sets of screws, one long pair of screws and one short pair of screws, because one of them is meant to be used on the back side of the TV for wall mounting, but then you like wall mount with well, it's like the long screws are for the TV stand, for the foot itself, while the for the back screws they're supposed to be a lot shorter. So if you use the long screws for the wall mount, you may actually end up literally screwing. Do I say that correctly? Like literally just screwing through the TV. So you break the display panel by doing so. I've heard of several people doing that. Like they just, yeah, two sets of screws, don't read the manual, like don't read the user manual, and you just, yeah, it's probably this one. Then you just, yeah, you break the TV, you crack the display panel, and you're gonna have a bad day. Oh, you were browsing at YouTube and it suggested my video. Interesting. So it does actually, at least it suggests your videos when you're live and you're subscribed. But I think they've, I mean, last time I was streaming, when I streamed Halo 3, that was in, I believe that was in August last year. The buttons were not the same when I started off a live stream. So something has been changed. So it kind of confused me a little bit. I kind of had to create a new stream with the old template, if you know what I mean, and just change the info on that. Alright, so what do we got here? Now we have the ear speaker, we have the sensors, we have the front camera, we have the metal plate, we've got the home key from the old screen, and theoretically it should now be working. So before I go any further, I can actually connect the screen right now and see if it works. Power it up. So let's check it out. Oh, and I realize you can't see my face right now, but Ari, I will probably post a picture on your Discord, like sometime this week, since you asked so nicely. Okay, so I technically don't have to assemble the... I don't actually have to plug in the upper cable, the flex cable here. But the reason I want to do it is because last time I replaced the screen on my boss's iPhone, which was really funny, I tested the screen after moving all the components over to the new screen, and you know, it worked perfectly. And then when I assembled it and I connected this connector, it just had an Apple logo, and that was it. It didn't go any further. The reason was because at some point I obviously teared the cable, but didn't notice. But it doesn't go into like boot loop before you have to connect it though. So you can actually use an iPhone without connecting the front camera, without connecting the front speaker, and it's gonna work just fine. Just of course without those features. But it will boot, it will work. But if you break it, you tear it, and then you connect it still, it's gonna be boot looping. So this one is also a little bit tricky because of the awkward angle and connecting this. I'll plugging that in. I also don't want it to damage the connector. So it's a little tedious work. Woo! Oh, come on. That was not supposed to be so hard. So when it comes to price, I mean the what do you call it? The I guess the Norwegian krone is not currently very high in value compared to dollars or the euro. So when I buy like iPhone screens, it's actually it's literally twice as expensive as it was 6 years ago. But still, it's like for this screen, for iPhone 8 Plus, I believe I paid about how much was it? Like $70, $70 like approximately. 70 to $80. That's what I paid for this iPhone screen. And it is an original LCD with a new glass and a new digitizer. So it is actually the same quality as an original Like in terms of picture quality, it is the same quality as an original iPhone screen. Okay, so this is a good sign. We got the Apple logo, and because this is not my phone, I'm not gonna show the background picture. So I'm just gonna see for myself if the touch actually works. Just do some very basic testing before I switch it off and reassemble the remaining bits. And it seems to be working. The touch is functional. I don't see any lines or anything, so I have not broken anything. And the fact that the phone actually boots up does indicate that the front speaker and the front camera assembly should actually still be working. Because if it wasn't, you're not gonna get you're not actually gonna boot the phone. Touch ID is working, so I'm happy. And there you go. The phone is now working, and I just have to reassemble the remaining parts. And also, I will be replacing the adhesive, so that the phone at least will be mostly watertight or waterproof. In reality, even though the iPhone is, like, recent iPhones are either IP67 or IP68 certified, but in reality they are rain tight. I mean, they can withstand rain, but you should never submerge an iPhone in water, even though it should technically be able to do that without any problem. But apparently it's not a what is it that Apple is saying? They say it's not a constant. Yeah, the IP67 rating is not a constant condition for the iPhone, and it will deter over time. It will kind of, like, I guess you could say, as the adhesive gets older, it kind of just gets the texture is different, so it doesn't work as a watertight seal anymore. And I'm assuming that's pretty much what's happening, that the screen is just slightly loosening from the frame over time. So really what they should offer was some sort of recertification, where you could just bring it into, well, in America you could bring it to a Genius bar and just replace this thing, which is the adhesive for the frame, and then some sort of test to just verify that the phone is now watertight, and you can now actually take pictures underwater and such. Because that really, if you buy a new iPhone, there is no problem really. There should be no issue submerging it in water. It is just that it doesn't stand the test. The condition doesn't stand the test of time. Like, over the course of a year or maybe 2 years, it's no longer watertight. At least that's the general impression that I'm getting. Okay, so what am I forgetting here? Should I think I have to assemble the adhesive before, I think so, at least before I before I take on the connectors. I have to do that. So this is very similar to Samsung. If you've seen a Samsung Galaxy S7, S8 or S9, they also come with these. Like, if you want to replace the screen, you get these adhesive strips. Well, they are a perfect fit. Much better than using. It's much better than using just a generic adhesive that you just manually cut, because it's not going to be anywhere near watertight, and it's also probably not going to keep the screen in place for too long. So now let me just see if I can get this in the right spot. So which one goes where? Okay, I think it's might be opposite. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Okay, so the little tap goes in the upper left corner. So now I should just be able to gently put this onto here. If you've ever mounted a screen protector on a phone, this is a little similar to that. Oh, actually, I can tell there's a tiny piece of glass stuck from the old screen inside the frame. We've got to be sure to remove that first and foremost. Yeah, actually, I'm just going to use gravity on this one. Is it gone? There you go. When I worked on Samsung phones, we actually had a dedicated jig for assembling the adhesive correctly, so that it wouldn't be skewed or go on the outside. So it's going to be a perfect fit. I'm trying out the same thing here, but it's a little tough. The thing with iPhone though is that you still got the bottom screws, the two bottom screws, and when you take a look at the screen, you also have these hinges on the top. So like, even though you don't get the adhesive properly mounted on, you should still, well, let me just say that the screen should not fall off because of it. It's just not going to be watertight. It's just not going to be able to potentially withstand rain. So I notice now this is not perfect because the adhesive moved out of the way a little bit when I pulled it off. But this is still much better than nothing. So it's going to help keep the screen properly in place, and hopefully it's going to last for several more years. There's actually some excessive amount. Well, I mean, there's actually some excess adhesive over here. Alright, so I should be able to just pull off this plastic tab right now. There you go. Now we have brand new adhesive on the phone. Alright, that's good. Now for just connecting the new screen and getting all the screws fastened. Okay, that was not a perfect connector. You know, getting these connectors correctly is actually about you just get you kind of get a feeling for it after doing it sometimes. Okay, so where's the suction cup? Okay, so I'm gonna use this as a kind of stand for the display, so that it doesn't damage the cable. Alright, so that I can have it like this. Makes it easier to reassemble the remaining bits. Like this one. These are also tri-point screws. If I remember correctly, that was the let's see, the right hand side or the left hand side? Okay, hold on, we got a second part here. Where does that go? Oh yeah, it's definitely the right hand one. There we go. Perfect. obviously while working inside the phone you want to, of course, avoid risking to puncture the battery. But in this case, it's pretty much out of the way when you're working with replacing a screen. But if you want to replace the logic board or any, like if you have to pull out the battery, there is actually, if you watch the iFixit guide, they have the iPhones have like dedicated like pullable tabs to actually loosen the adhesive. Like if you just, it's all about technique. If you know how to do that, it's super easy. If you don't know how to do that, it's super hard. So there you go. I actually think I got the camera angle here, like, not half bad. I just feel like it's okay. It's not anything professional looking, but it's alright. I just set this up in a hurry because this is where I have my computer monitor. So I just had to remove that and pull up the anti-static mat. And it seems to be okay. Okay, so this screw is not magnetized at all, like nearly not at all. So I think I actually have to use the tweezer to get it placed into position and then actually use the screwdriver. And of course it fell in between the logic board. There, I got it. Now just one to go. So now we gotta connect the battery. And obviously while using like sharp tweezers and such near the battery, obviously be careful. Be cautious. The interesting thing here is that I've, like 6 years ago, well actually more like almost 7, well 6.5 years ago, I worked fixing iPhones, and I started off fixing iPhone 4. So I did iPhone 4s, iPhone 4S and iPhone 5, and also a lot of iPhone 5S. But like all up until now, like even though this is an iPhone 8 from 2017, it has a lot of similarities inside. Like inside the phone there are many similarities. So if you open up an iPhone 4, an iPhone 5, there are many similarities with the newer generations. So I think Apple is being relatively, or well, either they have like a success recipe or already, or it's just from a manufacturing standpoint, I guess. Like producing the same or similar parts is easier. Samsung does the exact same, by the way. Like Galaxy S8. Like, okay, so Galaxy S9 is the exactly same inside as the S8, and the S8 is exactly the same inside as the S7. If you go backwards in time, there are a lot of similarities there as well, but okay, so now we just have to actually assemble it. And I'm scared that something is not going to work. So, all right. No, I'm going for it. I'm going for it. Assembling the screen. I usually go top to bottom. And I just realized something. I just actually crushed my crushed part of my skin inside of between the frame and the glass. Alright, so top to bottom. Just, there you go. Clicked into place. It should now be 100% ready to go. So since I already tested the screen before fully closing it in, I'm just going to go ahead and do the final part. The pentalobe screws. 2 bottom screws on the iPhone. It's been the same since iPhone 4 as well. It's the exact same. It's the exact same screw as the iPhone. Well, I'm not sure about the dimensions, but the screwdriver, the pentalobe screwdriver you need, I believe it's still the exact same as with iPhone 4. And iPhone 4 was released in 2010. That is over 10 years ago. Alright, that's it. Got the SIM card tray. So because I've not been tampering with the logic board in any way, I don't have any reason to suspect that SIM card readability is going to be an issue, because the only thing I've been touching is the screen itself, the home key, and the of course front camera and sensor assembly with the air speaker. So potentially, if something has gone wrong, it will be in those areas. There's nothing. There is basically no potential other error that could occur because of it. Looks good. I'm gonna power it on one more time and just test out the touch functions and the Touch ID to make sure that it's still functioning. Okay, so it's looking good. Touch is working. I don't see any artifacts or anything like lines or anything on the screen. And also, the Touch ID button seems to be working. The only thing remaining to test now is, of course, the speaker, which I have, what can I say? I have reason to believe that it's fully functional, but I would like to test it. So that's it. We have, let's see, old screen right here, that I'm gonna keep for a little while, just in case. And also the new screen right here. There you go. So that's the old screen. It looks better, doesn't it? Sweet! Yeah, thanks, Harry. That does look better, doesn't it? I'm hoping the customer will be happy as well. By the way, I am using Monster Cat for the music in the live streams because I did actually buy Monster Cat Gold, but they don't really have a lot of synthwave music but that I really wanted to have in the live stream. So I'm still looking for good music to have as background music that's non-copyright. I realized I could also use, like literally, I could use NCS music, no copyright sounds. That could work out as well. But Monster Cat itself, I think the concept is nice. It's $5 a month. It's just on some music categories or some music genres. They don't have a lot of music. I was using Epidemic music for a while. I haven't heard of that. No, so Monster Cat, they have only like in the synthwave category, you only have like 10 songs or something, but you have a lot of other categories. I mean, Monster Cat, I know there are a lot of good Monster Cat release songs. I just haven't found them yet. So I will probably find more by the next time I live stream. They have lots of music, even metal. Yeah, quite frankly, I don't think I'm gonna use metal music in my videos. Not a lot, at least. But hey, we did it. We fixed the phone. The phone can now be more productive than ever. So, this is the iFixit kit that I have. And it pretty much has everything that you need to fix a phone or a tablet. So I'm super happy with this. I think it's about 60. Well, it might be like 60. Wait, how much is it? 60 bucks? I think it's about 60 bucks for the iFixit kit. The this version at least that have the expert, well, pretty much everything you need, except for ESD mat. It has to be purchased separately. But hey, this video is not sponsored by anyone, so I'm just gonna stop talking. Alright, so that's really been it. I'm gonna end the stream for now. Well, for today, to be more precise. And I'll see you guys later when I stream more Monkey Island. Ooh, Monkey Island. I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching, and good night.